We just got the final teaser before the release of episode 5, and honestly, it doesn't really give us anything useful, aside from that satisfying feeling that the new episode drops tomorrow. But of course, we already have more than enough to make our final glimpse into episode 5. We've got the trailer for the new episode, a bunch of teasers revealing different events and characters, so yeah, it's time to finally break it all down, cause tomorrow we're finally getting that long-awaited episode 5. First off, looks like we're getting 4 main locations, each one setting up its own mini-adventure. There's the stadium, where they'll be playing softball against their own clones, and let's be real, Ragatha absolutely has to be the lead character for that one. Then we've got the savannah, which is clearly Jax's turf, and judging by the name of the adventure, we're probably going to see a bunch of stuff that wouldn't exactly fly in the real world. Next up is that office from the teaser, which, as it turns out, is actually one of the rooms in the White House, where Pomni's playing the role of president. And of course, there's the bar with all the mafia-style characters. That teaser got the most hype by far, and honestly, I think it's the one fans of the digital circus are most excited for. The only thing that might throw people off a bit is the black and white filter, unless Bubble was just trolling in the trailer. Oh, and if we go back to the final teaser before the episode 5 trailer dropped, it seemed totally random at first, but once the real teaser hit, it all started making sense. So here's what we know now. Kane totally snapped, though we can only guess why. Maybe it was the circus crew refusing to join the new adventure, or maybe another awkward talk with Zooble. Either way, that's what kicked off the full-blown chaos of episode 5. And speaking of the evil clones, yeah, the ones digital circus fans dubbed that way, it's pretty clear they're complete opposites of the real characters, and I actually broke that down in one of my earlier videos. Now, if you keep that in mind and take another look at that teaser, you'll notice how Kane literally tears open the fabric of space, which seems to trigger irreversible changes, not just in episode 5, but maybe in the amazing digital circus as a whole. Maybe that mysterious teaser was hinting at this all along, and those aren't the characters we're used to. They're the evil clones in disguise? The only thing that doesn't fully add up is Dr. Football, and the fact that Gangle shows up even though she's not part of the alternate cast. Most likely, we're about to witness a massive glitch, kinda like what we saw in episode 3, but cranked up 10 or 20 times bigger. And everything I just talked about is probably gonna go down. Also, if you check out the huge episode 5 banner, it actually gives you a pretty good idea of which characters will shine the most in each setting. We've already figured out Pomni's role as president, and we've been suspecting since back in December, right after episode 4 dropped, that Ragatha would be front and center for the softball match, especially since she totally showed off her skills back then. And as for Jax, he's been dropping hints left and right that the savannah is his main adventure, and yep, he's definitely gonna break the fourth wall again. But things get a lot more interesting with the rest of the crew, cause Zooble's gonna be front and center in the bar scene. We actually first got wind of that from an early, let's say, leak by Gooseworx. Then there was a tiny spoiler in that teaser. But back then, no one really knew what to make of Zooble's look. It wasn't until the trailer dropped that everything finally clicked into place. Same goes for Kinger. Just like Zooble, he's going to play a major role in the bar setting. And again, you can totally see it if you line up the teaser with the trailer. And it's pretty obvious at this point that Gangle's going to be getting the spotlight in the bar too, and I'm convinced that's no coincidence. Basically, we've got 2 major characters with their own dedicated adventures. Pomni, who's always been the central figure of the digital circus, is once again getting her own storyline, and as usual, she's going to play a key role. But the rest of the cast, they're all getting their moment specifically in the bar, and that's what makes me think the bar is going to be the real turning point. This might be the moment that kicks off the chaos Goose hinted at on Tumblr, the storm that's been teased. I feel like most of the crucial dialogue and reveals about certain characters are gonna go down right there in the bar, but we'll get into that a bit later. There's also another theory floating around about why Kane sent the characters off into completely random, unrelated adventures. Remember that old post from Gooseworx where Jax straight up mocks democracy? It's totally possible that Kane originally planned to hold a vote to decide the next episode so that everyone would be happy. But with Jax clearly being against the whole idea, maybe that's what pushed Kane over the edge. Like, instead of going through with the vote, he just snapped and decided to punish the cast by throwing them into total madness. And only afterward, when things started spiraling out of control, did he realize something was seriously wrong and began to lose it completely. Either way, we're just over 24 hours away from finally learning the truth and getting to see episode 5, the one that's going to kick off a whole chain of reveals about the darkest and most mysterious parts of the digital circus. And since Ragatha is one of the main characters this time around, episode 5 might just be the beginning of confirming one particularly wild theory, which I'm about to dive into right now. At this point, everything pointed to Ragatha being a genuinely sincere and decent character. However, after the release of episode 4, we finally opened our eyes to the truth. Let's go back to the beginning of this episode and take a look at how Ragatha went out of her way to help Gangle learn to play baseball. It even seemed sweet, right up until we heard that conversation between Pomni and Gangle.
do you have anybody to talk to? Like, in regards to your issues? I'm sure Ragatha would like to help you out.
Oh, Ragatha. I love her, but after a while it gets kinda hard to tell how genuine she's actually being.
After that, my world turned upside down, and I started wondering, why did Gangle say that? What makes Gangle distrust Ragatha? Most likely, Gangle knows much more about her than Pomni does. With these thoughts in mind, I began digging, searching for anything that could point to Ragatha's deceit. Of course, chills ran down my spine the moment I recalled the scene from the beginning of episode 2. Remember, back in May 2024, this scene caused quite a stir, but many dismissed it as nothing more than a nightmare sequence. But why did we see Ragatha, Jax, and Kane as a trio seemingly delighted by Pomni's demise? It was obvious why Jax and Kane were there, but why Ragatha? And now we're diving into the more intriguing part, Ragatha and Jax. Right after episode 3, I noticed an interesting detail.
You know how men are. Always having the silliest priorities.
Don't I know it?
Back in October, I noticed this and even planned to make a video about their relationship, but decided to wait for a better moment. Pay attention to Ragatha's expression when she said those words. It was as if she had been his wife for 20 years, speaking with genuine kindness about how her man can also be cocky. If you rewatch all the episodes and focus on their interactions, you'll notice that they get along perfectly, if that's even the right word. This dynamic was already evident in the pilot episode.
Do you think pairing them up together is a good idea?
Of course I do. They're the two most mentally stable and...
Notice how almost everyone else has grown used to Jax's antics. They just don't care anymore. But Ragatha? She always reacts with a special kind of enthusiasm, almost as if she feels his actions affect her personally.
help us out in return.
Hey, when did you...
Shut up, Licorice Hair.
You just... Why, Jax!
What? I thought we were supposed to capture all the ghosts. Oh, hey, maybe I didn't leave the gate unlocked for nothing after all.
What? I thought he was dead. You still did that?
And even when Jax is upset, she's the only one who tries to cheer him up.
I'm so unbelievably disappointed right now.
Well, maybe there'll be blood, death, and violence in the next adventure.
Ha 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 ha, how wholesome.
It all feels odd, considering how Jax treats everyone else and how Ragatha seems to stand for everything good and against everything bad. But when it comes to Jax, her emotions suddenly go into overdrive, hitting X100 compared to her usual behavior. And Jax himself? He's no better. We're used to seeing him mock others, but with Ragatha, it's different. Almost like he does it with a sense of marital affection.
Oh no! It looks like I've taken Ragatha and dropped her in the deep fryer.
Oh, no. We can't have anything like that going on around here.
Hey, Gangle, you should ram into him.
What?
You should not ram them. Pomni's still on board.
Do it, it'll be epic.
Why are there so many knives?
Can you move?
Yo, Jax. I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
You're drunk or something.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't shown all the supporting scenes yet to avoid dragging the video out, but it's already clear enough that there's something more between these two than just being neighbors in the digital circus. I'm almost 1,000,000% sure that they're in a romantic relationship. And considering what kind of character Jax is, Ragatha is probably no better, especially after episode 4 revealed her true nature.
Why are you even the boss anyway? I feel like I'm way more responsible than you.
Well, if you underperform now, you might end up hurt later.
Hurt nothing. I'm hurt enough. Packages landing on my head, tea parties, dancing lessons.
You know, a team works much better when we're all giving it 110% instead of, 5.
No offense, but you're kind of annoying when you have your happy mask. Wait, is that mean to say? Ugh, you are such a grouch. Why are you always being a grunch?
Her words about Pomni only confirm that Ragatha isn't really the character who cares about Pomni, and she certainly isn't the kind of character who treats her with kindness.
What? Ragatha, where's Pomni?
Huh? Oh, she's flirting with the gummy guy, 'cause she'd rather be with an NPC than with us or something.
Well, that won't do.
I wish someone would flirt with me.
And since episode 4 fully revealed the dark side of the real Ragatha and set us up for something intriguing in the sports episode, we now realize that Jax and Ragatha are a perfect match. In reality, they both wish harm upon others. While Ragatha plays the role of a kind friend, Jax acts openly, and that kind friend role is needed to constantly support everyone, gain their trust, and, in one moment, make them think, could Ragatha really be that horrible? This could explain that scene from the beginning of episode 2, when, during the transformation into an abstracted monster, Pomni sees the ones responsible, and Ragatha is on that list. Perhaps Jax played a major role in this, because in relationships, people, or characters in this case, always influence each other. Or maybe Ragatha was always like this and made Jax the way he is. What do you think? Either way, for Pomni, this could end in a total nightmare, especially since now she trusts Ragatha. It's terrifying to think about what she could do. But the motives are actually quite simple. I'm sure that at the beginning of her existence in the digital circus, Ragatha was truly a kind and positive character. However, over time, she became increasingly bored and disturbed by the realization of the reality around her, and it was in this form of entertainment that she found her peace. Just remember her words in the conversation with Pomni, and it will all become clear.
Don't understand. About the adventures? Why even go on them at all? Why not try to find a way to leave?
Well, we usually do when we first arrive, but after a while you start to realize that you really can't leave, and constantly chasing an unattainable goal will start driving you a bit crazy. And eventually you get to asking what the point of anything is, and you completely lose sight of who you are and why you're even alive, and when you reach your breaking point, something really terrible can happen.
In short, to sum it up, Ragatha's entire plan is to gradually earn the trust of new characters and then create such chaos in their lives that the only happy outcome is to become what Kaufmo has become. To execute this, she needs her partner, Jax.